I won't even stand.
Okay, since everybody's nice and quiet, we're going to go ahead and start the meeting at 7:01. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Christie, roll call, please.
Mr. Dabrowski. Mr. Smith. Mrs. O'Grady.
Here.
Mr. Bryan.
Here.
Mr. Cradilla.
Here.
Mr. Galena.
Here.
Okay. And
Hey, good start.
makes it in under the
Mr.
wire.
Bongiovanni.
Here.
You're fast. Yay. Right, we got a full board.
Everybody have a chance to look at the agenda. If no questions, I'd be looking for the approval of the agenda as submitted.
I make motion.
Got a motion by Roger, second by Dan, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion passes. Next, I'd be looking for an approval of the minutes of the Board of Education meeting on March 19th, 2024. Unless there's any changes. Got a motion by Ken and the second by Liz.
Mrs. O'Grady and Mr. Galena to abstain.
Yeah, one abstention.
Yep, thanks, Jen.
Okay, we have 2 abstentions, who's in favor? All right, we got the, Christie, everybody's in favor except the 2 abstentions, okay? Motion passes. Next, I'd be looking for an approval of the minutes of the closed session of the March 19th, 2024 meeting.
I make motion. I'll second.
Got a motion by Roger, second by Ken, all in favor?
Aye.
No opposed, and any abstentions?
Abstention.
Liz and Dave. Okay, motion passes.
Do we have any correspondence this month? No correspondence? All right, Ms. O'Grady, you're off the hook. I think we have some students to recognize.
I don't see any.
Kind of looks like it. I can't tell, but I think that we have some very special VIPs in the room. So, how about if we start with Lotus? Mr. Peters, would you like to kick us off tonight? Tell us about the amazing kids from Lotus.
Yeah, we have a really exciting night of student recognition. I think this is one of our largest groups that we've recognized. So I'm going to introduce first our special teachers. We have Kim Van Horlbeck. We're going to have her go first.
All right. On behalf of Lotus School and Specials, I wanted to recognize Emerald for just an overall wonderful person, student. Very respectful, up there too, to be able to come out here in just a second. She's always willing to help a hand. In library, I know for the past few years when it's time to transition to our PE, she is the one that's going around from one side of the library to the other, pushing in the chairs, putting the caps on markers, making sure the books are all straightened out. And this year I really noticed a lot of other students, she's a great role model. They're taking suit and doing the same thing and respecting everything and going around and following her, doing such a great job. Positive attitude, she's thoughtful and creative. Competitive, but in a very quiet manner. Responsible, she completes her tasks and follows directions. She's a very hard worker, does awesome and I'm ready. And super kudos to her for our Keyboarding Without Tears program. Last year in 3rd grade, she was the very first one who completed. And this year in fourth grade, she was the first one to complete it by the start of the third trimester.
Wow.
And if you notice, I know it's hard to see, so 401 activities she's completed thus far this year. And she averages about 30 minutes, so she kind of doubles what's expected. And the most important thing to kudos is she is at 18 words per minute with 96% accuracy. So that's just amazing. So great job on that. As far as safety goes, she's calm and always aware of her surroundings. Sometimes it's an easy thing, but it's not so easy. Celebrations to take consideration. 0 office referrals for first and second trimester. I mentioned keyboarding for third and fourth grade. And then on a side note, she was commissioned to do an art piece. And basically what that means is she ended up doing a space art piece. And she did such a great job that Miss CJ in music was so impressed that she commissioned and wanted a copy of that. So I was able to do that. And her favorite series in library is Dog. So everyone, we are so proud of you. Kudos to everything, doing what you're doing, a nice hard work. We love this thing here in this school.
Next, I'm going to introduce one of our PE teachers, Amber Miss Lewis. She has 2 students to recognize today.
And only one of them is here. I don't have to
No, that's okay. That's okay. I just wanted to make sure I didn't drop it. I'm good.
So my first one's Noah Salinas, but I don't think he's here. I nominated Noah because he has shown excellent improvement with his social skills, being able to go and ask peers to be his partner, which was a huge challenge for him at the beginning of the year, and then just stepping out of his comfort zone with the new class was just outstanding. And then also one thing that he's been working really well on is manipulative skills, throwing and catching, and because throwing is difficult, and so him being able to, I agree, him being able to successfully do that, so I'm just super proud of Noah. So let's kind of for Noah. She's here. So today, I want to take a moment to recognize this outstanding fourth grader. Delaney has recently joined our Lotus family, and she has already made a remarkable impact. In PE, she stands out for her eagerness to learn, willingness to help others. During any activity, she is consistently demonstrating a positive attitude and strong work ethic. She actively participates in every single lesson, even if she doesn't like it, showing enthusiasm for trying new skills and challenging herself to improve. She is a supportive teammate, always encouraging her peers and demonstrating excellent sportsmanship. She embodies the values of respect, kindness, and cooperation that we aim to cultivate in our PE classes. Delaney, your dedication to learning, your kindness towards others, and your positive attitude makes you a role model for all of us here. I am so grateful to have you as part of my class and as part of the Lotus family, and I have no doubt that you'll continue to thrive and inspire others.
All right, next I have 3 teachers that are excited to introduce our first grader being recognized tonight. I have Andrew Freeman, Megan Payne, and Christine Dula.
Wow, the trifecta is here.
And Mason, come on.
Mason.
So, we're here to recognize Mason Hansen for being so kind, caring, of course, silly, and an exemplary student. Mason has shown over the last 8 months of what a Lotus star should be. He shows his teachers and peers how to be respectful, responsible, and safe. He continues to wow us every day with his silly personality, which he has shown, and over-the-top compliments.
Mason knows how to cheer up his friends and teachers when they're having a rough day and reminds us all on how to be a good friend. To say we have seen an improvement in his academic performance is an understatement. Mason continues to show us each day why he deserves this recognition. Way to go, Mason. We're very proud of you.
And I also have
Everything.
You have a joke?
A serious joke that's kind of funny.
Okay, get it. Why did the toilet paper cross the road? Why?
because it was on the road.
And that is Mason.
So Miss Tina and I can sum our friend up very, very well. I just want to reiterate how proud we are of our friend, how far he has done this year. And I am proud to have a chance to be his teacher. We're so proud of you, friend, and can't wait to hear how you keep it up in the coming years, all right?
So it looks like we have a theme starting in the last 2 months with like some stand-up comedy.
I know. I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
All right, and our last group presenting tonight is our awesome pre-K teachers. We have Miss Aaron, Mr. Ben, Miss Mary, and Miss Michelle.
Woohoo!
Any order.
Hold on, I'm getting your slides.
Yep, I see Madison's mom's online.
She is. Hello. All right, tell us about Madison, Miss Erin.
Okay. So we have Sweet Madison up there. You can see some amazing pictures of her learning. The top is her identifying her number. The bottom is her identifying by color. Beautiful smile on the top right picture. And on the bottom is one correspondence and identifying. When Madison started at the beginning of this year, she was a little hesitant with learning. She wanted to always be right with the teacher. We loved this all the time. And it was wonderful for her, but we've just watched her absolutely branch out. And it is amazing to see her independence, how she's blossomed, how she truly has become a rock star at completing tasks completely unassisted. It's amazing to watch all the growth that she's made this year. She's doing amazing with especially her colors, shape, letter, number recognition, as I showed you in some pictures. Additionally, she's beginning to be the rock star and role model for toilet treating in our classroom, which is amazing. Way to go, Madison, on that one. Also, she transitions with ease, and it's a beautiful thing to see. When we blow a whistle, she's like, come on, guys, let's go. So it's really amazing to watch how she has become a peer leader from being someone that was very hesitant and wanted to be.
This man cut a credit card and bent metal wire around the chip, but he molded it.
So Madison, we're so proud of your growth as a student, and we'd love to see you grow in so many ways this year. We are so proud of you. Yay, Madison.
And Madison's with us full day now, right?
Yes, she's full day. She started as a half day, and we were like, she's doing really awesome. Let's continue this. So then she became full day, and she just exploded with amazing opportunity.
Way to go, Madison.
Way to go.
All right. Who's going to tell us about Emma?
Yeah, they just said that she was doing really good and that she's doing good with her peers and toilet trading and doing good with.
I wanted to recognize Emma.
Hi, Emma.
This is Emma's first year of school, and she's not so sure about all the things. For the first 2 weeks of school, she was tired, but anytime we had to try anything, she has blossomed into her best. She loves to show off her dance moves and parties for her friends. She takes great pride in her ability.
Did you build that tower? Did you?
Wonderful. She got up on her tiptoes to get right on top.
Yeah.
And it's great pride in her block building and art projects. She has overall tried so many new things this year, and in doing so has made us so much. We are so happy to have her new things. She has the best life. It's been a joy to hear her laugh. We are so proud. Never stop trying to be.
I know.
Who's telling us about Cole? There he is.
Ready, dude? All right, this is Cole's second year in preschool, and he continues to be such a kind and supportive friend for all others to follow. We have named him an emotional support call for one of our youngest learners, and he truly has been that for 2 years. He exceeds our expectations for counting, letter sounds, and he offers to help all his friends when they need it. Motor skills have been an area that have been a little trickier for him, and he has so much perseverance and willingness to practice until he gets the skill. This was the case last year with pedaling the tricycle over the hill and balancing on the balance beam, and he would practice and practice, and every day he'd be so excited he got a little further. And now this year we're working on writing and cutting, and he wants to practice, and not only that, he advocates for what he knows is best for him. So when he was cutting in the picture, he asked me for the thicker line because he knows if he has the thicker line, he can do it, and he wants to make sure that he can do it the way he wants it done, and that's awesome. He is such an amazing asset in our class for the past 2 years, and we're so proud of him. And he also would like you to know that he's an amazing basketball player, even though I did not have room for him.
Yeah.
So I told him I would add it, right?
Noted.
Because he did want you guys all to know how important it was.
Noted.
But it did not fit on the certificate. Right?
And who's telling us about Maya?
I'm Miss Mary, and I have the honor of talking about Maya this evening. I don't know if they're online. It's at the group, so I'm not sure. I'll go ahead and read what I have to share.
Go ahead and we'll make sure that they have access to the.
Sounds great, thank you. Maya comes to school every day with a huge smile and a ready-to-learn attitude. She's been a natural leader in our class since her first day last year. She knows and shows all of our classroom expected behaviors. She always challenges herself by trying more advanced skills and activities. In the one picture, we had just barely broached the concept of symmetry. She went to the centers and she created that piece of artwork all on her own. So she's constantly challenging and rising above what we're expecting out of them. Maya is a good friend to all and will go above and beyond to lend a helping hand to anyone in class that may need some extra help. She also takes on when we have special friends come and join us. She's the first one to greet them at the door and to help with those other children that come into our room. Maya is an active participant during all of our circle times. She loves songs and dances. She's the first to fill in any missing rhymes. She loves to share interesting and relevant comments. They are on topic. And she always seems to have the right answer, although sometimes she'll never catch the bubbles, so we do let her share it. I give her the thumbs up. She knows that I know she knows everything. She exceeds our expectations for all of her academics by already identifying all of her upper and lowercase letters, sounds, and knows all of her numbers to 100. So on top of all of that, Maya is a strong athlete showing her well-developed gross motor skills during our park time, especially her balance and her awesome soccer moves. We had an uncle who came to school here years ago, and she told me that's where she learned how to kick. So she was very proud. We are so proud of Maya and know that she will be an incredible kindergartner. And this is from myself, Miss Mary, and Miss Dina. And way to go, Maya. Yay. That all of our Lotus All-Stars. I thought we had. Yeah.
I just didn't get what the order in the slides. So Cole is my AM student. And
Got it.
Jaden is my PM.
Oh.
Sorry, we didn't do the slides.
That's all good.
Here comes Jaden.
Ready?
Oh,
Today, he laughed and we were walking out for parent pickup and he was, wait, my certificate for being so good. 7 o'clock, right? We have to come back to the lounge. She doesn't want to miss it. This is Jaden Valdez. He's been in my preschool class for the past 2 years. When he started, he was just learning English. And not only is he fluent in English now, but he uses unit vocabulary for the animal unit. He knows predator and prey. And he's quick-witted. He'll be like, are you thinking what I'm thinking? And he knows how to use humor, which is hard for preschoolers in general, but when English is your second language, that's even more tricky. And he's got it. He encourages and includes everyone throughout the day. During play, he helps others add what they're learning, like they made an Africa habitat. By the way, when a block fell on it, it was, oh my God, my Africa! Like, it was not good, right? The blocks, oh man, took out Africa. And then he adds storylines, they go camping, he adds details to his play and includes others. It's been a joy watching Jaden learn and grow for the past 2 years, and we are so proud of him. And Mr. Peters told him that a big You got it?
All right.
Okay, well,
Okay. Now, I'm so sorry. I was about to cut Jaden short of his moment to shine. My gosh. All right, Mr. Sefsig, Mr. Sefsig has a new Stanton Fox.
All right, since I'm old and have bedtime, I'm going to introduce 2 teachers. But before I do that, Mason, I got one for you.
Careful.
Knock, knock. Interrupting cow. Woo! You can use that one tomorrow. I'm going to introduce 2 of our 5th grade teachers, Mr. Brian Bailey and Mrs. Kathleen Winkle.
Yeah.
Good evening. It's my great honor to introduce Randy Brajowski. I got the privilege of being in my class, and he is one of the greatest students I've ever had. He exemplifies respect, responsibility, and safety. The responsibility, this guy had races this year, and he's the first student I've ever had who made it a point to say, Mr. Bailey, when I go to the restroom so I can use my water tank to make sure my teeth are clean. He is just outstanding. He's one of those guys who comes in your class, always does 100%. Yeah, whatever assignment you have, he goes the extra step, always making sure he gets it done, and others around him are getting it done. When he's done, he's the first person to ask Mr. Bailey, can I go help? Which is just a super, super awesome trait. He is a fantastic athlete. He tries new things. He even came out for the wrestling team. Wasn't his thing, but he came out and tried, and I can't wait maybe he can get some time to go up and track. I would like to my student Brady, keep it up. We're doing a great job, and
I have the pleasure of introducing Ariana. I am speaking on behalf of Mrs. Kretz. Mrs. Kretz wanted to recognize Ariana as one of her best students
a model student that always goes above and beyond in her work. She exceeded her math goal on the intra-eye-ready diagnostic and has worked really hard all year to get enrichment activities in the hopes of advancing a math subject next year. She always is a helping class with others, and she has a positive attitude and will tidy up classrooms. Others leave their stuff behind. She's a pleasure to have in class and overall super student. Additionally, she has been in attendance all year. And then last but not least, I would like to invite Abby to come up. I had the pleasure of being Abby's teacher this year, and when I was back to student, she was the first one to come find because Abby is always working super hard. She never gives up. She always asks questions. She always raises her hand to offer answers or contributes to a conversation, whatever it is that we're talking about. And she's always willing to work with other students. So any person I put her with, she never complains. She's always helpful, and she'll go out of her way to be nice to the other students, offer help. She sees us that might be a little like help. So I think that's really awesome. I also really enjoyed spending some time with her during crochet club. She came after school and we were doing some crocheting together. She was helping pass out the needles and the yarn, and she's just all around helpful person. So I really love having her in the class. Thank you so much for working so hard all the time. And
All right. Everybody get recognized who is here to be recognized. Sure, this is your moment. You made your bucket filled a little bit. Now's your time to stand up. One boss, you want to be recognized? All right, with that said, there's nothing like a stormy Tuesday night to get kids excited with cupcakes. So let's take a few minutes. Let's do like a 10-minute break for pictures, for snacks. That's why the cupcakes are there. I heard you ask, student. I got you. There's some bottles of water, cupcakes with your but let's celebrate our kids. They're amazing, and we are so very, very lucky that you trust us with them because they're magical and they make every day brighter.
So, and it's my job to make the motion that those who got recognized get first in line.
That's true. Thank you. All in favor? All right. Oh, any opposed? Right answer. All right, let's party a little bit. You're in the whole audience. Yeah, okay.
What's her name? Camilla.
Cardosa?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah. So fun. We'll see you next time.
See, I wouldn't even know it was almost dark outside.
She's coming right now. Oh my God, we gotta have this done by 9:30. That what's coming is gonna be like.
We were in here one time. All right, if this room was a lot quieter with all those people that were in here.
Thank you guys, that was really
Here
fun.
we go.
That was good. Nice job.
Come to order.
Yeah.
Little Jordan with the.
Yeah.
Well, he was very upset when he left school today and did not have it.
Oh.
So he goes, he ran back into school, I'm leaving, we're going to take it.
When he strutted up like, oh yeah, me too.
Yeah.
No, that's how you start. That's how you start. All right, let's get back to this.
All right. Next on our agenda is the consent agenda representing the accounts payable, in the amount of $715,665.09. Treasurer's report for March. Looking for motion unless anybody has any questions.
I'll make a motion.
By Roger, second by Dan, please poll the board.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Galena?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Grady?
Yes.
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Mr. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Corradolo? Yes. Mr. Kraus?
Yes. Okay, motion passes. Audience comments. Audience comments online, I guess. That does not include Jennifer O'Grady. Okay, we can go on. Okay.
No.
You're at an auction, you usually just watch.
Yeah, bought a car.
I don't think she can see.
That's funny.
All right, moving on.
All right.
Finance and facilities updates.
Okay. We talked last month about putting together a list of items that we completed, items that we still have left to do, and how that list may have grown. And so you'll see at the top of the page, that's all the work that we've done so far.
We're on page 43 of your board book.
The roof, standard HVAC, boilers and coils. Lotus roof is going to be done this summer, and as well as the vestibules.
Real quick on the Stanton boilers, I think we just approved final tables on that today. That's what I saw. Okay.
So then, after all these projects, we have a remaining balance of just about $600,000. We earned about $4,000 in interest every month, so that adds into it as well. We just received an $8,000 rebate from so when we look at the items remaining on the priority list, the first 5 are what was left from the original priority list.
From the referendum.
Correct. The bus parking lot, sprinklers, HVAC controls at Lotus, the sinks, and the ramps. And the comments that we had were from the last time that we looked at these priorities, the sprinklers. We did have a little pricing. I did talk with the boss, and he thinks that number would be much higher just because we have to take the ceilings down in some of the areas. So that would have to be relooked at as far as pricing. If that's something that we want to move forward with.
Are we in or out of code with those, with Stanton and the sprinklers?
We're in code.
Right. Okay, just checking to make sure.
Grandfathered in on that.
We are, yeah, we are. before I talk about fire alarms, let me talk about the bus parking lot also. Is Bob Ross also gave us a very general ballpark amount of $450,000. And the reason he said he went so high is because there's a lot of engineering that's involved. Topography, stormwater, so he really doesn't know what that might be. Could be a little bit less, but he went on the higher end of it at 450,000. But they did tell him that just to do the site engineering, looking at what it might cost, what it's going to entail, it's probably going to be $25,000.
Is that just a parking lot, or is that a electric run out there?
Right now, it's just, we're talking about a parking lot. So, and when,
Lights.
yeah, we originally had electric in there, but that was when we had the diesel buses, but now we're going with gas engine buses. So when I look at what we pay now for rent, it's at $450,000, it's like 24 years to pay that. Quite a long time. So the next one, the HVAC control remote is what we were told, but his item, don't do the controls until you start replacing the equipment here, because it's coming up to end of life, and you don't want to put graded controls on old equipment. And what Bob Ross was suggesting as well is we can choose to do it piece by piece. Let's say we're like for 3 different projects. Could we do controls on the new equipment and then phase it in? So that part of it could be phased. He said they've done that before. So that's why we're holding off on the controls.
Can I bounce back up to the bus parking lot too? There's been a lot of chatter at the state level related to requiring electric buses. So as Mary said, this lot pricing doesn't include electric. There's just a lot of moving parts with buses. And so I think one of the important parts that you hear is, while this was seen as a possibility / priority, with that many moving parts and knowing that it would be a 24-year payback compared to the rent that we pay now to access the space at Denny's, it would be something I think the board would want to carefully consider before taking action on. Sorry to cut you off, but I want that to go.
Yeah. The safety depots, we had talked about that. That amount of money, we can probably work that in our budget, general budget every year. Yeah. So that's what we were talking about prior. On this priority. ADA exit ramps, we're going to be looking at other options. So some of the new items that are suggested, not on the original priority list, are, and this was brought up by the new Office of Education. They really want us to do add some fire alarms at state. Right now, we have grandfathered in, but it is not. We got a estimate from Johnson Controls at about $82,000. And that would bring us up to go. What that would do is change out all of our alarms so that they're addressable. So when you look at the panel now, it's going to tell you which room, not which zone. It's now which zone. This one gives you a little bit more detail and tells you which room you're on off. There's a smoke. So that one Heather and I talked about it. We thought, well, we get a grant every year, an extra grant from the state, $50,000 maintenance grant, and maybe that would be a good project for that. So I think it's something we really do need to do, especially if the sprinklers are not going to materialize. I think, having the ability to tell where it's going to come off the fire is going to be a so, I guess that wasn't originally on the list, but regional law stuff.
We did check.
Yes. We did look at concrete repairs, we got some chipped concrete, and we thought we would kind of do a phase in on that. We run it through the budget and just repairs each year. Areas that we need it. This is mostly what this, yeah. Get a lot of concrete.
So what's the?
Yeah,
What's that?
it's both sides, yeah.
That's what is the Lotus Playground we had been talking about.
There's flooring at Stanton first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I missed that one. We were looking at replacing on flooring at Stanton hallways with a more of a like vinyl type flooring. And we did get a quote on that at one time. That's the $236,000. That's about a 2-year-old quote. So that would replace all the tiling that's kind of cracking.
If you walk through the halls at Stanton, you'll see that lots and lots of the tiles are chipped up and broken, and when that happens, one starts to happen to others. And the tile is original, isn't it?
I believe it is.
Jeff, do you know?
My that's history. Was it the same tile when we were students?
I have trouble, yeah.
It's definitely been there for 20 years. It's there. I mean, we've replaced the lockers, the doors, everything else.
Make stuff like this. Plastic.
I'll see if Patty's still awake.
All right. Oh, yeah, well, yes, Bill.
Lotus Playground, we had talked in the future that one of our projects on our list to replace.
So with that, we had an agreement with the Village of Fox Lake on that small. It was something that, hey, we're gonna pay for part of it.
So we would reach out
Yeah.
on both of these projects, we would reach out to the municipality on both of them.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing with Stanton, we had replaced their playground, that area. The phase 2 part of it was a smaller area for younger kids. Smaller, like the younger toddlers stuff.
So there's more of a community feel to it, and then when families are there, at that athletic events, there are things to do, so.
Along with the benches and.
We talked about ADA accessibility.
Thank you, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because we don't have that at this point.
So,
So I have a question, and I'm putting you on the spot. So don't get mad at me and yell at me tomorrow. I know you're gonna act nice now. So when you're talking about HVAC controls for Lotus, should that Lotus system be moved down and added to the future projects list?
you mean
The HVAC here?
yeah,
Okay.
I think so, because at some point we're gonna have to be looking at replacing some of this equipment, air handlers, things like that. And like what Bob was saying, there's no sense on putting a BAS system on these the old equipment. So, yeah, that's, I'll add that in. That's bad.
We'll see.
HVAC equipment. I think what we also need to do is speak with West Side to see what shape a lot of these events and the handlers are. We have them on doing our preventive maintenance, so they have a good grasp on how long, like, just like the old show, they see people keep it running for you, but it's going to cost you lots of money. So, I don't want to get to that point here early, so, but we need to see what they say.
I think I missed what you said about the fire alarms in Stanton. They're not, I would think that would be a higher priority. Or is there something wrong with the fire alarms now, or they're functioning, or?
There's not enough.
There's not enough.
It doesn't meet code right now. You're supposed to have a fire alarm in each classroom. We don't have that. And I think it's set every 20 feet in the hallway. We don't have that. So the new alarms that they're proposing it's able to tell us pinpoint where the fire alarm went off. And like I said, this was not a priority in the original.
But we've added it.
referendum.
Right.
It just didn't
I
come
see.
up because we were grandfathered in, but like I said, the ROE is the one that said, you know, hey, really, you should be adding some.
Fire alarms.
Yeah.
Did you have some for money to do it? Yeah.
Well, they did,
Well, it
they
says
did
they're
say,
giving
we
a
know this is a
reimbursement.
lot of money, but if there's any way you can. Basically that. So, but yeah, no, I know it's.
Well, especially if we're not gonna sprinkle it.
Yeah.
So then what would be the projected day for those things that were suggested but not on the original list?
So that would
Like,
come
are
back
we
to the
looking within
facilities
next
committee?
Yeah,
facilities
yeah.
committee?
To make a plan knowing, because the first question is how much of the referendum dollars are left? Once the work that was promised is done, then from the work that was promised, do we still want to do those things? Like the bus parking lot was something that came up, but that was 6 years ago, right? So not 6, that was in 2019 was when we built the priority list. So it's been a hot second, a lot's changed, and that's what happens, right?
Transportation issue is too.
Yeah.
I'm a fireman's daughter, so the fire alarms is, I've heard a lot of terrible stories and seen a lot of horrible things. And so that's a concern for us just personally.
Assuming we didn't have the $600,000 sitting there, how much in a year would we be able to afford to tackle on this list, for example?
Yeah,
Is there
just from our operating funds?
Is there a rough dollar amount? Is it 50,000, 10,000?
I'd say between $50,000 and $100,000
each year.
That's fair.
And you know, the nice thing about doing the work in the summertime is you can use 2 different fiscal years. So if we're able to do, let's say, 60,000 one year, 60,000 the other, you can do a summer worth $120,000.
Right.
So,
I'm just
yeah.
kind of thinking, once that
That's a great
money's
question.
exhausted, how do we address other
Yeah,
issues
I would
as they kind of
To plan ahead.
move them ahead?
Right, which is one of the purposes of the facilities committee is to come together and make the long-term plans so that we are in a place of predictability rather than reactivity on capital.
Right, the electric, for potential electric buses,
Mm-hmm.
how would that impact us over at Benny's? Like, assume then we have to.
yeah, you have electric over there.
But not.
Right, and not to charge, yeah.
I think that's
Not
too
charge.
far off to
I
even.
agree.
Decide
I
right
do
now
too.
until the state determines what they're mandating or not, and what, again, what funds are they gonna supply if they're mandating this?
Well, they're mandating full kindergarten everywhere and not being the red cent. We're in a lucky position that we had it and we have classrooms, but imagine being our size as we are right now and having to double for kindergarten. They're not getting the red cent. Should, or actually we will, and nothing. So.
Another off-the-wall question. The grants working on this one, they bought the building, used the security troops. I know where they're at.
We checked that and they are chock full. That was one of the first questions we asked.
Yeah. That would be nice.
Well, yeah, I mean, it would be, yeah, it makes sense. That's all it does, is it makes sense. Yeah.
And even, we even looked at parking our vans one day over at Stamp, and we could probably do that, we've got 5 vans right now.
She's an helping thing.
It does
It's partial.
We just scrap the parking lot, they all be better.
I think that's what we have a facilities committee is to look at
Yeah,
short game, long game.
Yeah.
I think the fire alarms.
Right.
So, yeah, that's kind of led me into where I was going to ask. So in the second part of this list on the bottom, we have the top stuff that's in addition, finishing up, as we started, but like Heather also mentioned, so now the committee is going to look at all these things and anything else that may come up and kind of prioritize it at this point, so that's kind of where we're at.
In addition to having a vision laying out a long-range facilities plan so that we can say, if we bought boilers here, when are we gonna have to be thinking about that? Roof is we, a replacement schedule, so then we don't have to rely on another big ask, but rather, if you budget over time, you're able to meet your needs. Right.
About the fire alarms, we have to spend the money before we got the reimbursement
That's
from
correct.
the maintenance. Okay.
Well, actually, no, the maintenance grant, they sent us a check for $50,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they did, send
See, so that's.
it's kind of great, it's the only one.
How did the,
We don't see it with anything else.
how did the, roof go that they replaced over the entrance?
It went good, they did replace it, but they did find some areas of concern too, so they're working up on what that's, to see what they need to do. That was all the information I got from Max. But they did get that part done.
I saw.
It was pretty quick.
Yeah.
I think they were out here for 2 days, maybe.
And you know what we need for the
Over spring break.
we meet with them tomorrow, we can get a little bit more stuff on that. We're doing a kickoff meeting with PSI and then Stanton for that project tomorrow.
Speaking of roofs over at Stanton, is there an annual inspection that needs to be done to maintain the warranty on that thing?
I believe All American handles that, don't they, because they're vendors of the flat roof. Yeah.
They were,
So I'll make sure that gets documented.
Yep.
yeah, I'll get a hold of them to make sure.
That's my fire alarms. If we apply for the maintenance grant, what's the turnaround time before you actually get the money?
Usually it comes out in December.
Okay.
And then by February, January, they usually let you know if you get the grant, which, this is gonna be health by safety, which is higher up in the priority. And so then they usually send us a check like in February.
So potentially it could be next summer.
It could be, it could possibly be spring break. We can put it in, something like that, you know, a little bit, it didn't, I don't know how long it's gonna take them to do it all, but so that's something I have to find out. But otherwise it may be next year.
The estimate is what is this, the tile was added to the new part of Stanton in 1973.
Got those 20 years left.
Got 20 years left.
All I know is I was born in 72 and I'm in order.
Sharing a little too much.
I didn't tell you why. I could have babysat for you.
All right, any other questions? So finance committee will be getting together to talk about short game and long game. Yeah. Probably once the school year ends, we can around here, maybe a little bit. Yep. How many days? Yep.
Wait for the morning, so it's Wednesday, what do I have to do?
That's how we live. All right, transportation updates.
Okay, we do have a little bit of change from last month. We have an additional Safeway car van going, we have another student that's going. Actually, been there for a week in a different place, so the Safeway is going. And we also have hired a new driver. They will be hiring a new driver. We have the ability to train now.
So this is the radio trainer day.
Yes, one of our drivers is interested in me. So he's going to, we sent him last week for his fingerprinting and his physical. He has a CDL already, he drives semi-trucks. And so we'll be looking to train him, probably in May. Yes. That's good, a good friend, not the CDL. Right. That's the only.
He's also a phenomenal human being. So So this is a win, win, win.
So we're really happy.
It's a good thing.
And with the trainer, we'll be able to hire people who don't have experience and give them
I have a question about the vans. I know we have the vans, so it's not a question of, reducing that number or changing that number. But isn't there a way we can consolidate? We have vans going with one student. I mean, can't we get like more than one student on a route, or are the demands?
But sometimes we can't.
Yeah, that's,
Sometimes we can't.
because we have one-on-one for all of those.
There's times we've tried and as behavior issues.
Okay.
We can't, or safety issues.
I see.
So.
Yeah, I there has to be a reason, whether
Yeah,
it's
there is.
physical needs or special services on the buses. I just
So that's
curious
determined,
about
that's
that.
determined by a student's IEP team.
Yes.
Because a student who isn't in their least restrictive home-based school, and the team determines that an outplacement is appropriate, the team then also qualifies that student for special transportation, and then delineates what special transportation needs to look like for that student. So even when we start, the IEP teams will typically start with least restrictive special transportation, but we have students that to get to their destination safely, have to be single rider with an aid to safely get where they're going, simply because they could become so dysregulated. So that's an IEP team decision as it's made.
Gotcha.
And we are still looking for vans, right?
We are. We've got we budgeted 2 vans for this year, and 2 drivers. So, we may have some of those more expensive routes.
Because we've talked in the past, that's, we want to get up to as many vans as we can.
And then what do we do about those buses that we just leased? Would we,
They
would
go
that?
back to,
They do.
back.
Okay.
No. You're talking about the buses. We keep those,
We keep those.
but we add the vans so we don't have to pay so much for the special transportation route.
Okay.
So when you see those, and it's not driven by a 114 driver, and then look at the accounts payable at the highest ticket numbers, that's why. So the more, if we can sink money into our vans and hire
Yes.
drivers, Mary ran a cost analysis. You take a hit in the first year, but win big over time, and even the hit you take in the first year costs less than the route in that year. So.
It's really, it changes from year to year, it changes from month to month, as you say, it's just based on the needs of the kids.
All right, any other questions?
And you talk about needs of kids, and that's why we pull kids in-house rather than shipping them elsewhere. It's better for the child and saves on ton of transportation and tuition.
I have another question I was going to bring up when we talk about projected enrollment, but this would also affect our transportation needs, is the closing of St. Edie's. There's, I don't know, I think it's like the total is only like 120 students or so.
Yep.
But have we,
We've already talked to them.
Yeah.
Christy, what were their findings? I'm not gonna remember off the top of my
I
head.
think it was 5 kids in our.
That's it? Yep.
Oh, okay. Just wondered if that was, in our projections. Classroom and for transportation.
Yep.
St. B had a lot, St. Joe's around Lake is shut down. So a lot of those kids went to St. B, and Antioch shut down. A lot of those kids went to St. B, so that's why our impact.
Wasn't aware that it was something different.
I think a lot of them go to East probably.
That's what I thought too, Jen.
Yeah.
Go to Prince of Peace.
Yeah.
Have the Peace closing.
Transportation, moving along. Get it? Transportation. Come on.
I like it.
That was pretty good.
It's hard to see.
That's somewhere in here.
Love. Well, you're excited for you. Okay,
Every third Tuesday.
We're here all night. We're here all night.
Administrative reports.
Okay, so the personnel report is in front of you. What you do not yet see reflected would be some shifts for 24-25 because you haven't yet talked about the staffing plan. So we do have one hire to happily bring forward a 0.5 early childhood teacher and a 0.5 permanent sub, which will then domino effect allow Michelle Magnus to be 0.5 preschool teacher and coordinator that has been Grant we haven't been able to do because we needed her as a pre-K teacher. Did I say that right, Natalie?
Wait,
All right.
can you say that?
Yeah. So we have a one section. No, I'm not going to, Natalie.
This has only been posted for 3 years.
Right. So what's the vision for the position?
So for our parent educator, so that we have education, literacy, for our skill. These are typically at-risk students. We're not as parents or children not feeling. So it's just a way to bridge that gap. So what Michelle will be doing is she'll be posting taking the class, so we're working. Michelle's teaching how to do their children. Just really have it now, but we have to get her a sub every she does that, and so that's time she's not able to do it. And so with Mindy being able to take over, she'll be able to, and she'll also be able to liaison for the other classrooms. And then also Mindy will be able to sub for our teachers when they need to be out also huge, because that's one of our most intensive positions. There's not many people that want to sub.
And the cool thing about Mindy is what's her lowest stream?
Yeah, so she's student top in her program, so she's actually not going to take her else because she just got. She was doing start. So hopefully at one point she'll be.
Have her with and a lot of faith in, and you've seen work ethic, and I think we were all doing backflips when we found that this was going to work. So
yeah, and this will be so good for our families to have Michelle.
She is already, is she a student, did you say? No, she's not in school. She's certified as an early childhood teacher. Yeah.
She got certified, and then took a year off.
So then you can see we have a few resignations that are on the list. And then we have unfilled positions that have not, like I said, been updated yet for next year because that's what. So I would be asking for the board's approval of the personnel report as is presented.
I'll make a motion. Motion by Roger.
I'll second.
Second by Liz. Please poll the board.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Brownell?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Grady?
Yes.
Mr. Bonner?
Yes.
Mr. Bryan?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. DeBrusk?
Yes. Passes.
All right. So the staffing plan, Liz and Joy, I know this is your first time seeing this. So what we've tried to do during my time here is build a longitudinal look at staffing. So there's a whole lot of information in here that tells you the story of District 114. When things go from an open box to a closed box to flat fill, that shows you, okay, this is the change we made in our program here and how our systems work. When you see asterisks below the blocks, it says, okay, here's a special circumstance or some information under how decisions were made. So you can see in red the tentative for this year. So I'm not asking for board approval tonight. It's just for your consideration to bring you up to speed on some moves so we can get some things posted. I'll be asking you for final approval in May when we add the paraprofessional support staff to this. So you'll see our paraprofessionals are not reflected here. It's not that we're not having them, it's that we do have historically done one piece at a time. So again, the longitudinal is here, some shifts, we have shifts every year, kind of how things are gonna look. So I put in the bulletin list on the first page of this memo, key shifts that we're talking about. One of them is, Liz, speaking to your point about enrollment. In fact, we continue in a decline. So we don't need to do any changes in our general education sectioning yet. So those stay exactly where they are, as you can see reflected in Lotus certified staffing. However, when we talked to you last year, we shared with you the fact that decline in enrollment in those section shifts historically led us to a place where we could schedule for specials for teachers and not need full-time equivalents for them. And so what we did in terms of creative thinking this year is we asked, and let me define what specials is. So that's art, music, library with Kim, who was here, and then STEM with Victoria Miller is specials, and those are on a rotation, so kids have daily access to one of those, and then they have PE every day with Amber and Lisa Huff. So that creates conditions where kids are in the specials rotation for about an hour in full transition time, 50 minutes. So that then, that's how teachers get their contractual plan time. Here at Lotus, Stan runs a different model. So in this conversation, I'm speaking only to Lotus. So some things about the plan this year worked, some things about the plan this year did not. So specifically, flashing back to look forward, PE allocation we always are going to need, unless we drop down to very small section count, 2 PE teachers. To have sections, we do have to have 2 classes out at the same block of time to make the whole master schedule work. So we're always going to need, until, like I said, unless we had a dramatic decrease, 2 PE teachers. What ended up happening, other specials, so art, music, STEM, and library, is to get kids to all the places, we only needed half a person teaching them. Because that's all the sections we needed. So now we have long tenured employees, full-time contracts, but half-time schedule. So what we did this year was shift them into permanent sub, if you'll remember. So some days of the week they were teaching, let's speak for CJ, for Erin. She teach music, but then the day she doesn't have music sections, she would be a permanent sub. And it worked-ish, but in a lot of ways it didn't. And I'm not going to go into those if you want more detail, you can reach out to me privately about that. So in revisiting the whole thing and trying to think of, it's kind of a best-worst decision, if that makes any sense. Like, we would want to be able to have the kids have all the offerings, run the special schedule, have people on their contracts, but all those pieces don't mesh right now with the number of sections that we have. So the decision that we came to collaboratively is that we're revisiting the Lotus special schedule and in fact pulling STEM out of a specials rotation. So let me stop right there. Looking at our other neighboring districts, they very inconsistently have STEM programs. So I'm talking about Big Hollow, Gavin, and Lake Villa. It's inconsistent STEM as a part of the specials rotation at each of those districts. Big Hollow does have a program. If you want more details on that, share with me. I would be happy to share those privately as well. So does Gavin. Lake Villa does not. They don't start STEM programming until middle school. So what we can't shift away from is making sure kids at Stanton have access to STEM and specifically Project Lead the Way, because all of the foundational schools to grant offer it. So to take that away would put our kids at a disadvantage compared to their other peers heading into grant. And if they have any interest in pursuing STEM careers, engineering, those strands, even if taking classes in CLC or the tech campus, you can't not have those foundational pieces. So what we're talking about is Stanton keeps PLTW, keeps its STEM rotation, but we would lift it out of the special schedule here for a couple of, well, the first reason is we can't hold it all. We can't do all the things. The second would be, there are ways to still provide our kids access to STEM in a different way. Is it ideal? No, I'm talking about the best first decision, right, of what we have. But we can certainly supplement with STEM Club with even more access for students through stipends. Well, thank you. There's been some initial conversation about how could that become perhaps a connected task or connected concept within art literacy, because there are science and social studies units there. So we haven't even started working on what's next, because all of this is just coming together now. In terms of library access, Kim and the library schedule would simply just come out of the special schedule. Kids would absolutely have access to the library, they still have access to everything. Teachers would schedule their time, it would still be a set schedule, it's just not in the special. So that's what we're looking at there. So when you see some shifts in FTE in the staffing plan, that's to take the person who taught STEM here and make sure she has an assignment, because she is a tenured employee and she's great. So there are things we can do with her to. The other shifts that we are moving forward with is to shift nursing support at Stanton to a registered nurse. Right now we have a full-time certified school nurse, which is obviously a different level of licensure, which is a different level of pay. Right now we pay for that person through the PLC. And while we still have jobs that a CSN is required to do, for example, a CSN has to collect health history data in the IEP process. We can use that as a purchase service rather than hiring a full-time, super highly qualified person with an RN will do exactly what we need in the health hub. It has proven to be successful here. We are also not out of a time of a pandemic in hopes that we can also decrease the escalation around that. So this is, to me, a fiscally driven, very sound decision to make. The last piece that would be new is, again, so this is an ELC purchase service, but in running the numbers of occupational therapy for our students with IEPs, a huge celebration is the fact that far fewer students need that direct support. And because of that, we can reduce the FTE that we are purchasing from the ELC. That's a lot of alphabet soup. From a full-time position down to a 26, which is another substantial savings. We wouldn't do it if the kids' needs weren't going to be met. We feel confident that the students' needs will be met with that shift. What else are we talking about? So I don't know, I guess I would defer to Matt and Natalie. I think we'd like to keep Allie around as sped coordinator. I'm putting you on the spot, I know. Okay? Closed session. So the dual special education coordinators was a shift that we made for this year. Lynn, Allie, maybe even Lynn, anything you'd like to say in terms of that shift? Because if you'll remember, Lynn was sped coordinator for the district, so pre-K through 8. And now Allie handles pre-K 4, Lynn is 5-8. Anything you'd like to say?
Thank you. Bottom of my heart. Nothing worse than feeling you're in one building but needed in another, and then you're in the other building and you're needed back in the other place. So it was, I felt like I was in that unknown situation a lot. So thank you.
So
I feel like I'm a full-time job. I'm busy.
Very kind of way to say that. Again, we've talked about shifting positions that have remained for years unfilled as a lot of paraprofessionals. They just aren't filled. And even more than that is substitute teachers. We are finding that the permanent sub role is a huge success. I don't know, you guys can comment on that better than I can.
This year. last year. So it was, the kids didn't.
And that is in a class of very complex learners. And the same, a similar situation happened in Stanton where a permanent sub slid right into.
Yeah. And we have 3 other permanent subs besides the one that is filling that leave of absence right now. And I have them booked, all 3 of them, with their assignments for the rest of the year. And there's still teacher and pair assignments that are not filled, that will not be covered. Or that will have to do with interim.
Well, from a teacher's perspective, permanent subs.
It is so nice to have somebody on site who knows the kids, knows what they're doing, and literally, like, there's multiple times I kind of get pulled from my room at a moment's notice, and somebody can come right in, knows all my kids, can step in and do the job. It's not somebody just coming off the street trying to run your classroom. So the behavior management is better. You're able to lead a full set of lesson plans. Not that a regular substitute couldn't do it, but it used to be, oh, I know this person's coming in my room, so I can lead this level of difficulty for my kids. Oh, I know this person's coming in. I'm probably just going to leave some lighter, fluffier plans and things that aren't as important. Not that the kids weren't still learning, but different, totally different. So what a lesson. Amazing.
Amber, what about you?
I don't see them as often, but I have to say that personality-wise, they're great. What I love is that they can build a program with students from different grade levels. So I see K4, so it's nice seeing a permanent sub come in, having a relationship with a kindergartner, but also having a relationship with a 4th grader. We don't see that with most of the subs. So having those relationships, and a lot of our friends that need a little more relationships are really connecting to those students, and I think that's been what I've seen the most inspiring.
And it's less disturbing to the kids. Like less, it doesn't mess with them and their days as much because they know who's walking in. So how do you fix changes in your awareness? Yeah.
I'm messing with the subs.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, I imagine the productivity with the kids is even better. It's not a wasted day.
Yeah.
And actually, 2 of ours coached this year too.
Oh, they coached, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
They picked up extracurriculars too.
And I bet they like it. There's a desperate, weird competition now with subs. They have to buy, I know the subs that I know, they have to purchase an app that will ping you when a sub position opens. And I've seen some stop what they're doing in the middle of a classroom to get the first chance to answer for that sub, day that's opening up. So it just seems like a really excellent idea.
Thanks. Emily's online and said she stepped into my room yesterday and immediately picked up where I was and knew everyone's name. Amazing.
I love that idea. Awesome.
So it's been a huge win. Out of necessity came something really, really brilliant and great for kids. So like I said, everything else on here you're aware of, everything else I know you've had time to consider. We do still have slated purchasing the ILP classroom, so our most complex student need classroom teachers. You'll see we believe that's been successful. It's not something we love to do, looking at my union friends in the room. But year 1 has proven to be successful. Our partnership with ELC is strong. So we have some openings there. Allie partnered with Ricky from ELC yesterday, found a candidate for one of the rooms here at Otis. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. And again, every time we can staff one of those classrooms and fill it with kids, it will decrease the number of routes you see on that tuition special transportation list. And it's good physically, but it's also great to keep our kids at home. And you may or may not know it, but a few of those students were actually recognized. The cool thing is, I bet you don't know who. And that's exactly what it should look like. So I will bring this back for board approval when the support staff is on here, but for us to move the pieces of each, I wanted to bring forward. So we were aware. Are there any questions of me?
I have a real quick question about eliminating STEM. I understand what you're saying about eliminating it from the special schedule.
Correct.
But the concepts we still have science classes, right?
Not in the elementary.
Not in elementary, they don't have a science class.
So, one, we have a very high need for lots of ELA and lots of math. And there's both felt that really need to be our mission. Two, we adopted a curriculum that integrates science and social studies within the ELA block. And as we've gotten to know it better, I think there are some amazing opportunities to integrate STEM into those. Now that we know the curriculum, have, worked through some of the kinks and we're getting to know or getting to use it, what works, what doesn't, how can we make additional STEM work into that. I think there are lots of great opportunities to that. In addition to that, for years we ran a STEM club outside the school day, which was awesome. So I think there are some really great opportunities to do that, because that was one of, I believe, that had that discussion as well. Like, so what does that look like? Knowing that that's a great thing for our kids and something that us as staff value as a second.
I actually think there's value in having them integrated into a more diverse program like social studies and literature. It actually enriches the concepts of STEM.
That truly makes my life something I miss being able to have an opportunity to bring it back to my classroom and find ways to integrate it. Exciting to my little sister.
Yes. Good for
So
you.
Keep it up. Two of our units for our art programs for our kinders, biology and zoology. So they are definitely getting those science concepts. I was intimately working an insect unit on the different parts of insects and talking about apps and antennas. So there's definitely integrated science.
Back there doing independent research projects in kindergarten on their insects.
That just blows me away.
I think it is something that we are better able to handle now, 3 years into art, than maybe have to start thinking about that overwhelming 2 years ago to put it that way, but now we're at a point where we're ready to.
You know it well enough to polish it up, as opposed to watch.
You guys, Monday, I forgot you were in.
Yeah.
They were right.
So, I like having you guys about every meeting to tell you about my kindergarten.
I like having you teachers here to talk about these things. Thank you for being here.
Well, you don't, but thank you.
I'm here.
Amber, thank you for being here. Ross has to be here. All right. So, as we said last time, we finished policy review just in time to get a new packet. Now, the good news is there's not humongous stuff in here, so I think we can whip through these first reads pretty quickly. In terms of 240, it's updated for improvement. Typically, I wouldn't bring such a thing forward, but both the cross-references and footnotes are updated, so there's not change to the policy, but if there's cross-reference updates, I always want to have those in policy because those are our legal kind of crosswalk. So that's why this one is here. So no substantive change, but they change the cross-references. On 2260, this is the uniform grievance procedure, and I think in most press packets, this one is up for review. So it's all about how do you express a complaint or an issue with the district. So anytime you see a change in, for example, the next policy, which is about Title IX, you're going to see an update in uniform grievance. So 2260 is a domino that falls from other ones. So if you'll skip to 2265, this is what made that one need to change. So this one is Title IX grievance procedure. So what happened here is it's renamed. It used to say sexual harassment grievance procedure, and now it's aligned to Title IX, which is more of the legal perspective on the issue rather than saying it's sexual harassment. So each district is required to have a Title IX certified person, that is me, we do legal updates on it, just to stay abreast of any updates. So that's why that one is here, and then that one changes, the one before it has to change. Clear as mud? Okay. Then, that's good. 2265, I think is just as another fallout from Title IX. Oh, 2265 then is the grievance procedure, all related to Title IX being changed. So really those three are a package. And so we'll update the names and the titles and all of that stuff and where the blank lines are in this one. So it's just aligning all of the pieces of the puzzle with the change from sexual harassment to Title IX. 2270 is a brand new policy though. So this one is specifically written, and I'm hoping by the second read we'll get all of the citations, because right now they're still updating the legal citations. This requires a board to adopt an official policy or more than one policy that prohibits discrimination and harassment based on race, color, and national origin, as well as retaliation. So in the past, this was embedded in discipline, it was embedded in uniform grievance, it was embedded in a whole lot of places, but now it is its own standalone policy to say this is something we won't put up with. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's why that is, you were looking for an old 2270, it doesn't exist because it's brand new legislation.
And who's the complaint manager that we have here?
That's Jeff and then Natalie.
Okay.
And then Rochelle, which one are you? Discrimination?
Yes.
I'm Title IX. You're something. Homeless liaison. What are you again?
And we have people in all of those
Yeah,
posts.
we have people in all the posts.
Okay.
And when you get the second read, they'll all be filled in.
Okay.
Yeah. What are you doing? I'm a little funny. You're something. You are something. So any questions? That was a whole lot of stuff for some little changes, but it's important, as we've learned a couple times, that our policies are in tip-top shape at all points in time. All right. So discussion items, any future agenda requests? No. Good.
Discussion item, what is our current policy?
Well, that's an interesting question. Can I get back to you in May on that?
Yes.
Okay. That's a great question. More to come, right?
That's tricky.
I'm not trying to be a jerk, but
No,
it's a work in progress. That's what I can tell you. Well, but we will have an update for you.
In the locker, that's all.
Have you ever tried to deal with the middle schooler with
Oh,
that?
yeah. But what happens as the technology progresses, there's conflict with teachers who actually want to use the phones and certain services in the classroom for lessons. So it was a conflict when some of the foreign language teachers had interesting things that they were using their phones for and responding to games and stuff in the classroom. So they needed them in the classroom. So it was even harder to control the behavior.
Right.
They're not going to go put them away.
Right.
For me? Is there anything you can't do on a Chromebook?
Right.
I don't.
Right. But that was an issue with some of the teachers wanting to incorporate those activities and wanting them to have their phones, but others saying no, going away. And even supervision and distraction with even on the Chromebooks got to be a thing, especially with some of our special ed kids with impulsivity. The teachers would position themselves in the back of the classrooms.
We have what's called Go Guardian, so that we can
see the entire class, what they're, yeah. I agree, it's an interesting thing we have.
Interesting, is it?
Sounds like you were a challenging student.
I was an IA in middle school. I was an IA in middle school for 17 years. So, yeah, you name it, I probably had to see it. There were times too, just the mom part of me would be like, oh, Mrs. C, so-and-so is, standing in the stairwell and he wants to kill himself. And I went in there like, get down right now. And that settled that issue. So there's, some of it is just common sense.
No, that's good for now.
We did have one FOIA request. Christy, that one's handled?
Yep. Just wanted information on our copier lease and maintenance agreement.
Copiers.
It's not very, wasn't clear over it.
Other dates of notice, thanks, Mr. Dabrowski. And another one, so we've got May 21st is our board meeting and May 22nd is 8th grade promotion at Grant. So we get 2 evenings together, my friends, and that is at Grant. At what time, Jeff?
Doors open at 6:15, ceremony starts at 7.
We will find you at the board meeting on May 21st. Got it. Anything else?
Anything else? I think that was a motion. We're going to close session. Motion going to close session. All right. Yeah. And on favor? Aye. Opposed, none, motion passes. Okay. You guys head on out. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody online.
Thanks for your participation.
Jen, you gonna stay on?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Are you just gonna take her on your computer
Yeah, let's do that. Jen?
now? Because that way we can. put
Yeah,
this
Jen,
up.
stay logged in. I'll just bring you to my computer.
Okay, sounds good.
This is yours, right? Or is
No.
this Mike's? Okay.
Stop recording first.